Hello and welcome to the Independent Lodging Congress's video interview series. My name is Stephen Chan from Eagle Point Hotel Partners. Today we are at the 2015 Independent Lodging Congress in New York City, and we are joined by Bashar Wali of Provenance Hotels. For more than 20 years, Mr. Wali has been driving innovation in all facets of the hospitality industry at companies like Wyndham International, Sheraton, and Grand Heritage Hotels. As president of Provenance Hotels, he has crafted an assertive growth plan and developed strategic partnerships to further the growth of the company's national presence and grow its portfolio of owned and managed hotels. Later today, you will be appearing on ILC's Battle of the Brands panel on the subject of guest loyalty. Do you think either independents or chains have an advantage when it comes to loyalty? What steps do you take to promote guest loyalty toward your hotels?
Thanks for having me, first and foremost. I think fundamentally loyalty has been historically associated with the brands. And really the fact of the matter is there was no loyalty. Brands were buying loyalty. It was a bribe. They handed you points and they bought your loyalty for it. So clearly they have the advantage of they were there first. They have far more locations than independents do. And although it's changing, they still remain the lion's share of hotels in any given market. So I think as the consumer behavior changes, leaning away from buying my loyalty with your points and really focusing on you truly knowing me as a customer and attending to me is what's going to buy you my loyalty eventually. So I think we're seeing that changing, especially with the newer generation who could care less about points. And frankly, anyone who has points, and I travel a ton for business and have a lot of points, they're becoming less and less valuable every day. Right. And I think people want to be recognized as humans first and not have a value assigned to them in points. So I think it remains relevant today. It will be relevant for the foreseeable future, but it's certainly losing momentum.
Yeah, interesting. What factors make a city a good location for a lifestyle property or high-end independent? Do you think such a hotel could flourish in a less prominently hospitality market?
I think the definition of lifestyle and boutique and all that has been so diluted because of what's happened in the industry as of late. I think consumers have become exceedingly sophisticated by virtue, obviously, of the internet and the liberation of information. So every city in every town want to be cool and want to have a product that they're proud of. I can't imagine any city in the US or town for that matter saying, we are dying to have a Residence Inn built here. So they all want those lifestyle and they all want those boutiques, and again, whatever the terminology is. Ultimately, where those first thrive are obviously in cities that have an edge of culture, that value the arts, that have makers and doers and entrepreneurs that appreciate those kinds of hotels. But to say one city wants it more than another is a fallacy. I think to say they are likely to be more successful and highly sought after in cities like the Austins of the world and the Portlands of the world and the New Orleans and Nashville and all these, for the lack of a better term again, hipster, not culturally aware, because every city is culturally aware. I think those cities that value that more than others for the time being, I think those are the cities that make sense.
And what happens when the hospitality market's a little bit softer? Do you think that how will they perform?
Well, I think that as the market softens, again, we're starting to see it statistically that the independents are doing on average better than the branded in ADR. And I think in RevPAR, we're on par with the branded. I think the more consumers become aware of those offerings, the less the brand matters. So being in a tertiary market without a brand, I think doesn't matter. Now, clearly, if you're an 800-room convention hotel outside of Boise, Idaho, you probably don't want to be independent. But generally speaking, in the segment we're talking about, the 100 to 300-room urban hotel, I think the need of a brand becomes less important. There'll always be a place for the brands, obviously, like I said, but in those particular markets and those sizes, I don't think it matters.
Interesting. So outside